While Nicolás Maduro sat in his interrogation room believing his wife was holding strong, Cilia Flores had already been talking for 48 hours. She'd given them everything: the bank accounts, the names, the secrets, and she'd done it all while her husband still thought they were fighting together. March 17, 2024, 6:47 a.m. Cilia Flores woke up in a cell she didn't recognize. Gray walls, metal bed, a single fluorescent light that never turned off. For a moment, she thought it was a nightmare. Then she remembered the convoy, the armed men, the black hood, the flight to nowhere. She sat up slowly, her body aching from 2 nights on the thin mattress. How long had she been here? Where was Nicolás? Were her children safe? The door opened. A woman in her 40s entered, carrying a tray with coffee and toast. She was dressed professionally: gray pantsuit, minimal makeup, wedding ring on her left hand. "Good morning, Mrs. Flores," the woman said in perfect Spanish with just a hint of American accent. "My name is Dr. Elena Martinez. I'm here to help you." Cilia didn't move. "I want to see my husband." "I understand, and you will. But first, I need you to eat something. You haven't had a proper meal in 2 days." That's when everything changed. Cilia looked at the woman more carefully. There was something in her eyes. Not cruelty, not pity, something else. Understanding, maybe, or sympathy. "Where am I?" Cilia asked. "A secure facility in the United States. That's all I can tell you right now." "Am I under arrest?" Dr. Martinez sat down on the edge of the metal bed, keeping a respectful distance. "That depends entirely on you, Mrs. Flores. You have choices to make. Important choices." She placed the tray on Cilia's lap. "Eat, then we'll talk." Cilia's hands trembled as she picked up the coffee. It was good coffee. Real coffee. Not the watered-down substitute they'd been drinking in Venezuela for years. That small taste of normalcy almost broke her. "But you haven't seen the biggest surprise yet." Dr. Martinez returned an hour later with a folder and a laptop. Cilia had eaten the toast but barely touched the coffee. Her stomach was twisted in knots. "Mrs. Flores," Dr. Martinez began, sitting across from her at the small metal table that had been brought in, "I'm not here to interrogate you. I'm not CIA. I'm not FBI. I'm a psychologist who specializes in helping people in impossible situations. I don't need a psychologist. Maybe not, but you need someone who understands what you're going through." Dr. Martinez opened the folder. Inside were photographs. Photos of Cilia's grandchildren. Cilia's breath caught in her throat. "Where did you get these?" "Your daughter posted them on Instagram last week. They're beautiful children, Mrs. Flores. Your grandson just turned 7, right?" Tears welled up in Cilia's eyes. She hadn't seen her grandchildren in person for months. Security concerns, she'd been told. Too dangerous with all the unrest. Now she wondered if she'd ever see them again. "I have grandchildren too," Dr. Martinez said softly. "2 girls, 6 and 9, and if I were in your position, if I thought I might never see them grow up." She paused. "I would do whatever it took to get back to them." Cilia looked up sharply. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying you have a choice. You can protect Nicolás and spend the rest of your life in prison, never seeing your family again. Or you can protect yourself and your children and grandchildren by telling the truth." "Wait a minute, don't miss this detail." Dr. Martinez pulled out the laptop and turned it toward Cilia. A video began playing. It showed Nicolás in his own interrogation room. He looked tired but defiant. A man in a suit was questioning him, and Nicolás was giving short, evasive answers. "This was recorded yesterday," Dr. Martinez said. "Your husband is refusing to cooperate. He thinks he can outlast us. He thinks you're doing the same thing." The video continued. The interrogator asked Nicolás about offshore bank accounts. Nicolás denied everything. "But here's what he doesn't know," Dr. Martinez said, pausing the video. "We already have the bank records. We have the shell company documents. We have the money transfer receipts. We have everything, Mrs. Flores. We don't need his confession." She leaned forward. "But we need yours. Because you handled the finances. You were the one who set up the accounts. You were the one who moved the money. You know where every dollar is hidden." Cilia's mind raced. How did they know? She'd been so careful. Shell companies within shell companies. Banks in 7 different countries. Encrypted communications. "You're fishing," Cilia said, trying to sound confident. "You don't have anything." Dr. Martinez smiled sadly and pulled out a single sheet of paper. "Singapore International Bank. Account number 847233917728. Opened in your name on June 15, 2015. Current balance, $847 million. Cilia felt the blood drain from her face. Now what you're seeing is nothing. Dr. Martinez continued, pulling out more documents. HSBC Hong Kong. Account 92847733. $412 million. UBS Switzerland. Account SVZ 88294. $267 million. Dubai Islamic Bank. Account. Stop, Cilia whispered. Please stop. I can't stop, Mrs. Flores. Because there are 17 more accounts. And the total is over $3 billion. $3 billion that belongs to the Venezuelan people while they starve in the streets. Dr. Martinez's voice remained gentle but firm. Your husband thinks he's protecting you by staying silent. But he's not. He's protecting himself. Because as long as you both stay quiet, we have to work harder to build our case. But the moment one of you talks. She didn't need to finish the sentence. Cilia's voice came out hoarse. What do you want from me? The truth, all of it, how the money was stolen, where it went, who else was involved, bank account numbers, shell company structures, everything. And if I do this? If I betray my husband? You'll be betraying a criminal, not a husband, Dr. Martinez said quietly. There's a difference. She pulled out another photo. This one showed a Venezuelan hospital. Children lying on floors because there were no beds. A doctor holding an empty IV bag because there were no supplies. This is what your $3 billion could have prevented. These children could have had medicine. These hospitals could have had equipment. These families could have had food. Cilia turned away, unable to look. I know you didn't start out wanting this, Dr. Martinez continued. I've read your history. You were a lawyer, an advocate for the poor. You believed in Chavez's revolution. You wanted to help people. I did help people, Cilia said defensively. At first, maybe, but then something changed. When did you first realize the money was being stolen? When did you first know that Nicolás was lying to the Venezuelan people? You won't believe this, but Cilia was silent for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely audible. 2014, the oil prices crashed. Nicolás came home one night and told me we needed to prepare for difficult times. He said we needed to secure our family's future because the revolution might not survive. And that's when you started moving money? Yes. Dr. Martinez typed something on her laptop. Tell me about the first transfer. Cilia's hands clasped together tightly. This was it, the moment of no return. Once she started talking, there would be no going back. But the image of her grandchildren's faces kept floating in her mind. And the image of those sick children in the hospital. It was $50 million, Cilia said quietly. From the National Oil Fund. Nicolás told me it was for emergency reserves, in case we needed to leave the country quickly. Who else knew about it? Just us. And Diosdado. He helped set up the first shell company. Dr. Martinez's fingers flew across the keyboard. What was the company called? Bolívar Internacional Holdings. Registered in Panama. And the bank? HSBC Panama. But we transferred it to Singapore 2 months later. The questions continued. Each answer was another stone removed from the wall Cilia had built around her secrets. And with each stone, she felt lighter. And more terrified. But the really shocking thing is, after an hour, Dr. Martinez sat back. Mrs. Flores, you've been very helpful. But I need to ask you something difficult. When did you realize that Nicolás had stopped caring about Venezuela and only cared about power? Cilia closed her eyes. She'd asked herself that question 1,000 times. 2017, she said finally. The protests. When young people were dying in the streets and Nicolás ordered more force. More violence. I begged him to negotiate with the opposition. To find a peaceful solution. What did he say? He said, they want to destroy everything Chávez built. I won't let them. But it wasn't about Chávez anymore. It was about him, his power, his legacy. Tears streamed down Cilia's face. I told him we had enough money. We could step down, let someone else lead, go live quietly somewhere. But he refused. He said he would rather die than give up power. And you stayed with him. What choice did I have? Cilia's voice broke. I was his wife, the revolution's first lady. If I left, I'd be branded a traitor. My children would be targeted. I was trapped. Dr. Martinez reached across the table and gently placed her hand over Cilia's. You're not trapped anymore. Right now, in this room, you have power. The power to tell the truth. The power to help your country heal. The power to see your grandchildren again. Cilia looked up through her tears. What do you need me to do? Don't miss this detail. Dr. Martinez pulled out a legal document. This is a cooperation agreement. You provide complete and truthful information about all financial crimes, corruption, and human rights violations you witnessed or participated in. You testify in court if needed. You help us recover the stolen assets. And in exchange? In exchange, you receive immunity from prosecution. You'll be placed in witness protection with a new identity. Your children and grandchildren can join you if they choose. You'll have a chance at a normal life. Cilia stared at the document. And Nicholas? Your husband will face justice for his crimes. But that's not your responsibility anymore. He'll think I betrayed him. You're not betraying him, Mrs. Flores. You're choosing your family over a criminal. There's a difference. Cilia picked up the pen that Dr. Martinez offered. Her hand hovered over the signature line. If I sign this, she said slowly, I need to know one thing. Will the money really go back to Venezuela? Will it actually help people? Every dollar we recover will be placed in an international trust fund for Venezuelan reconstruction. The World Bank will oversee it. It will go to hospitals, schools, food programs. The people who suffered because of what was stolen. Cilia nodded slowly. Then she signed her name. The moment the pen lifted from paper, Cilia felt a strange sensation. Not relief, not quite guilt, something in between, liberation mixed with betrayal. Dr. Martinez smiled gently. You just made the hardest decision of your life. Now comes the hard work. Are you ready? I don't know if I'll ever be ready. But yes. For the next 6 hours, Cilia talked. She described the financial structure of the regime's corruption in detail. The shell companies, the money laundering networks, the corrupt officials who took cuts, the foreign banks that looked the other way. But it was when Dr. Martinez asked about the family that Cilia's voice truly broke. My sons, she whispered. Nicolásito and Yosmario. They're not innocent. Tell me about them. Cilia took a shaky breath. Nicolásito has $400 million in accounts I helped him set up. He owns properties in Spain, Dubai, and the Bahamas. He bought a private jet with money stolen from humanitarian aid funds. Dr. Martinez typed without judgment. In Yosmario? Smaller amounts, maybe $80 million, but he was involved in the drug trafficking. He worked with the Cartel de las Soles. Cilia couldn't continue. It's okay, take your time. He helped arrange shipments. He took payments from the cartels. My son became a drug dealer while I looked the other way because I didn't want to believe it. That's when everything changed. Dr. Martinez closed her laptop. Mrs. Flores, what you're doing right now takes extraordinary courage. You're not just exposing your husband. You're exposing your children, your family, everything you've protected for years. They're guilty, Cilia said firmly, though tears streamed down her face. I love them. God help me, I love them. But they're guilty. And if I protect them, I'm no better than Nicholas. Dr. Martinez stood and walked to the door. I'm going to give you a break. There's someone who wants to meet you. Who? The door opened, and an older woman entered. She was in her 60s, wearing simple clothes, her face lined with years of hardship. Mrs. Flores, Dr. Martinez said, this is Carmen Rodriguez. She's from Caracas. She wanted to speak with you. Cilia stood up, uncertain. Carmen looked at her with eyes that held both pain and something else. Hope, maybe. Señora Maduro, Carmen said in Spanish, I don't know if you remember me. We met once, at a community center in Petare. You were giving a speech about women's rights. This was 2009, before everything fell apart. Cilia's mind reached back. She vaguely remembered, back when she still believed in the cause. I do remember. You asked me about healthcare for your daughter. Yes. Carmen smiled sadly. You promised me things would get better. You seemed like you really cared. I did care, Cilia said desperately. I really did. I believe you, Carmen said. And surprisingly, she seemed sincere. That's why I asked to come here. To tell you that I forgive you. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. Cilia's legs nearly gave out. What? My daughter died 3 years ago. No insulin. The hospitals had nothing. I was angry for a long time. Angry at you, at Maduro, at everyone. Carmen's voice was steady despite the pain in her words. But then I learned you were here. That you were telling the truth. That you were trying to help get the money back. She stepped closer. And I realized that hatred was eating me alive. So I chose to forgive you. Tears poured down Cilia's face. I don't deserve forgiveness. Your daughter died because of us. Because of what we did. You're right, you don't deserve it. Carmen's voice was firm, but I'm giving it to you anyway. Because I don't want to carry this poison anymore. And because I believe you're trying to do the right thing now. She reached out and took Cilia's hands. Give them everything, every account, every name, every secret. Help bring back the money. Help rebuild our country. Do that, and my daughter's death won't be completely meaningless. Carmen let go and turned to leave. At the door, she paused. I prayed for you last night, Senora Maduro. I prayed that you would find the strength to tell the truth. Thank you for answering my prayer. She left. Cilia collapsed into the chair, sobbing. Dr. Martinez knelt beside her. That, Dr. Martinez said softly, is why this matters. Not revenge, not punishment, healing. For everyone. Now what you're seeing is nothing. After Carmen's visit, something shifted in Cilia. The last walls of resistance crumbled. When Dr. Martinez returned with more questions, Cilia was ready to tell everything. Let's talk about the family structure, Dr. Martinez said. How did you divide the stolen money? Cilia took a deep breath. There was a system. Nicolás got 40%, I got 20%, Diosdado got 15%, the military generals split 15%, and the last 10% was divided among key officials who needed to stay loyal. That's from the oil money? From everything. Oil revenues, Chinese loans, Russian payments, drug money, everything went through the system. Drug money? Dr. Martinez leaned forward. Tell me about that. Cilia's voice dropped to a whisper. The Cartel de las Soles. It started small, just looking the other way while cartels moved drugs through Venezuela. But then, she paused. Then we became partners. When? 2015. Prices crashed. We needed money desperately. Diosdado suggested it. He said the military was already involved, so why not control it and profit from it? And Nicolás agreed? He hesitated at first, but only for about 10 minutes. Then he said yes. Dr. Martinez's expression remained neutral, but Cilia could see the disgust in her eyes. How much money came from drug trafficking? I don't know exact numbers. Maybe $500 million per year at the peak. Maybe more. And your sons were involved in this? Cilia nodded miserably. Nicolásito coordinated with the Colombian cartels. Yosmario handled the distribution networks in the Caribbean. They were so proud of themselves. They thought they were revolutionaries funding the cause. But they were just drug dealers. But the really shocking thing is, Dr. Martinez pulled out a photo. It showed a young Venezuelan man, maybe 23 years old, lying dead in a Miami street. Do you know who this is? Cilia looked closely and felt sick. Carlos Mendoza. He worked for us. Low-level courier. He was killed by the Sinaloa cartel 3 months ago because a shipment went missing. A shipment your son Nicolásito was supposed to protect. Dr. Martinez's voice hardened. Your family's business dealings got people killed, Mrs. Flores. Not just in Venezuela, all over Latin America. Cilia couldn't speak. She'd known, abstractly, that people died. But seeing the photo made it real. How many other Carlos Mendozas are there? Dr. Martinez asked. How many young men died because your family turned Venezuela into a narco state? I don't know, Cilia whispered. God help me, I don't know. Dr. Martinez stood up and paced the small room. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to give me every detail about the drug operations. Every contact, every route, every payment, and then the DIA is going to use that information to dismantle the entire network. They'll kill me. The cartels will kill me. Not if they never find you. That's what witness protection means. You disappear. Forever. Cilia realized what that meant. She'd never see Venezuela again. Never visit her parents' graves. Never walk the streets of Caracas. Her entire life would be erased. But what choice did she have? There's something else, Cilia said suddenly. Something Nicolás doesn't know I know. Dr. Martinez sat back down. I'm listening. Wait a minute, don't miss this detail. In 2019, during the Guaido crisis, Nicolás was ready to flee to Cuba. He had 3 planes ready. I told you this before. But what I didn't tell you is that he also made a deal with Russia. What kind of deal? He agreed to let Russia build military bases in Venezuela. Not just training facilities. Actual military bases. Missile installations. Submarine ports. Everything. Dr. Martinez's eyes widened. Are you certain? I saw the documents. Nicolás kept them in a safe in our bedroom. He thought I didn't know the combination, but I'd watched him open it 100 times. Do these bases exist? Some are under construction. The missile installations in Zulia State. The submarine facility in Margarita Island. All disguised as civilian infrastructure. Dr. Martinez grabbed her phone and made a call. She spoke rapidly in English to someone, using terms Cilia didn't understand. When she hung up, her expression was grave. Mrs. Flores, you just provided intelligence of extreme national security importance. The Pentagon will want to debrief you personally. Am I in trouble? No. You just became one of our most valuable witnesses.